In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down Evan Fournier and how he shoots the basketball. If you're looking to shoot the basketball better, this is definitely a video for you. If you want me to break down your shooting form, make sure to go check out the link down in the description below. Okay, so the first thing I really want to break down is his base. His base is absolutely fantastic. He has roughly shoulder width feet, which will give him a perfect base. There are a few things that are kind of concerning, however, he does shoot with a slight tilt away from the net. Not a huge tilt, but it is slight. His feet also go in that same direction, however, his right knee does somewhat point in. Will this affect his shot? It could, however, he does shoot at a very high percentage. From there, we want to really look also at his set point and if he has a gap between the palm and the ball. And he actually shoots with a very small gap right there. However, you basically have to, because there's no way to possibly not. Basically, he has the side of his hand and the other side of his hand touching the ball and with a small little gap, a very, very small gap. This will give him more rotation on the ball. He also has his shoulder and elbow in line with the rim, and his offhand is to the side, not the top, not the bottom, not the front, to the side. Also, the entire time he is looking at that rim when he's shooting. If we can really focus on his eyes as well, they're still focused on the rim while the ball is in the air. A lot of shooters will start to look up, and it's hard to see if at this point he's looking up at the ball, but a lot of good shooters will follow that ball with their eyes. We can see that he has some nice rotation to the ball as well. From this angle, we can see that he does get at least a little bit of that ball over top of his upper arm, while generally speaking, you would want to have at least half of the ball over top of that arm, but it's not necessarily something that every single player needs to shoot with or like. He does have a slight thumb flick, however, that is to get that ball even higher so that now it is about half of it over top of his upper arm. We can also see that his hand is spread out. That is a mistake that a lot of younger players make, is they'll keep their hand together. You really want to have your fingers spread as wide apart as you can so that you can have as much base for that ball to touch. Now, at this point, you will see that he is a middle finger release player, which is no surprise. A lot of players are. There's 3 different types of releases. There is the split finger release between his pointer and middle. There's the middle finger only release, and there's also the side hand release, which is more like Fred VanVleet. Most players will have more success with a split finger release. However, if you find that you shoot with a little bit of a thumb flick like this, you'll probably notice that you do have a middle finger release. That is not going to be a surprise if I was to see that on your shot, and he gets a ton of rotation on that ball as well. When he brings the ball up to his set point, we can see that the ball goes up the middle of his body, which is, again, no surprise because his elbow is slightly flared because he shoots with the ball in front of the middle of his forehead. Until he gets it up into his release, that is when we then see that arm get in line. He also has very good energy transfer. He extends the hips first, and then he extends the knees. You generally want those two to extend roughly at the same time, and they basically do. He also has a very soft release. We can see that with his fingers. So a soft release will give him more arc on that shot, but it will reduce his backspin. However, with that palm almost touching that ball, he will get an increased backspin on that shot. And we can see from multiple different angles that he doesn't have exactly the traditional balance where his shoulders are over top of his knees. They tend to be over top of his heels. We see that from this shot, but we also see it from this shot as well. Now, most players will find more success having their shoulders over their knees, over their toes, but Evan Fournier tends to have his shoulders over top of his toes still, or over top of his heels, depending on the situation that he's in, but his knees tend to be a lot farther extended out in front. In fact, if you actually shoot like this, you may find that you will get more power on your shot if you do the knees over toes guys type of workout, where Basically, he's trying to work on your strength when it comes to your knees being past your toes. Now, that can create injuries, at least in historical studies. However, if you strengthen your ability to do that, you should actually reduce the chance of injury. Anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.